Welcome to Built, Trusted, Chosen, the podcast for leaders and marketers in trades and construction, hosted by Wes Towers from Uplift 360.
Hello, Jo. It's fantastic to have you on the show and to introduce you to the audience. But maybe you could do that yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you're up to these days.
Great. Thanks, Wes. Thanks for having me. I'm Jo McClure from JM Virtual Business Services. We help small to medium businesses with their systems and their admin and their operations, essentially. So, we are a CRM specialist, so we help with the actual systems that you use, but we also provide services to help you do the admin that you don't get time to do during the day. That's,
and I can appreciate
in a nutshell.
a massive challenge for every business, really, but certainly for those that are, on the tools, out and about, in the field. And I think we first connected. There was a project we were potentially going to work on. Maybe we didn't do that project, but through Zoho. So I was curious to follow your journey from there. So Zoho's doing some pretty cool things in that side of things as well, I've heard.
Really is. So you've got the basic Zoho products, which are fabulous. Zoho's been around for 40 years, and they just keep building and building and merging it all into one. So, a single sign-on, single license fee. But what they've done recently in the last 2 years is they've put together a service, a field what's the words I'm trying to look for? Field service management.
Field service management.
Yeah. So for construction, for cleaners, for builders, electricians, HVAC operators, you name it. Essentially, they've built a small system that can connect with the rest of the Zoho products if required. But this system's a standalone, and it's really exciting. It takes maybe 5 hours maximum to set up, and you can literally hit the ground running with it within a week. It's great.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Zoho overall is a powerful system. And just for those who maybe never have heard of it, it's a CRM and a whole bunch of other things. It's just a suite of software opportunities, and you can run your whole business through it for the large part. But I think the challenge with it I've seen over the years, so we build websites and sometimes integrate with these platforms, and the overwhelm seems because it can do so much overall. I know you're talking that it can be standalone, the FS, Zoho, but once you start, bringing other things in, people just get scared, and overwhelm just creates a lack of decision and a lack of implementation. No one ever gets anything done. So I suppose that's where you come in. You help people get the stuff done. You get it off their feet and get it working.
So we do. We can also quieten it down. We can turn things off so you don't have to see everything. So people get overwhelmed not only mentally by, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, but also visually. And so what we've done over the last few years is we've specialized in just working out how to switch things off or hide things so that it just happens auto-magically in the background, but you don't have to see it. So you're not visually overloaded either. And I think that's super important. Because it's hard enough to run a business without being bombarded with, where do I click? What do I do? It's just too hard. I'm not going to use it. You need to be able to go click, done, essentially.
Yeah, just hide away all that stuff you don't need and just focus on the things. It's true with designing and building websites. We're just all so busy and rushed that things need to be clear, concise. You need what you need when you need it. And certainly if you're out on the field, you might be stuck in a roof or something, and you've got limited access to your phone and so on. And, you're not reading mountains of, navigating through a whole bunch of different things. You're just customized, tailored to exactly what you do. So building those sorts of systems out, how do you typically work in the initial phase with the new company?
Sure, not a problem. So what we do is we have an initial discussion and we identify which product would be the most suitable and best fit for your business. We don't try and just because we're Zoho partners doesn't mean I'm going to push Zoho on you. I'm partners with a whole lot of other systems as well. And there might be a better fit, or it might be a system that we're not even partners with, but we know will fit your business because we want the system to work for you, not you work for the system. That
Yeah.
just whole purpose of putting in a system, right? So
Yeah.
we'll understand what you do and how you do it. We've had a lot of experience in trades and different service and field service businesses. So it really helps with all that experience just tucked in the back going, oh, I can see it. I understand exactly how you operate. Yep. So we get that understanding, and that might take half an hour to get that basic understanding. We will then do a scoping. So that might take anywhere between 2 and 4 hours. And then from there, we'll come up with a document that will outline exactly what features you need, exactly what effort that will take, and we can get a cost to you. It may even be simpler than that. It may be that it's a direct fit for exactly what you need. We might not even need to do scoping. We might show you what the system can do in that first half an hour or hour, and you might go, oh my God, that's it. That's the one. And that's great. When that happens, you instantly click and you go, right, okay, excellent. Well, this will take, up to 5 hours to implement for you. You can be up and running by next week. And people love that. Love the fact that they don't have to do it firstly. It's just going to automatically be available for them to use the next week. And then we can build it out from there. We can phase it, just get used to the basic out-of-box system with a few field changes to be named as you need them to be named or whatever. But the basic system, get used to it. And we ask you, go ahead, try and break it. Make sure that it does exactly what you need it to do. So we'll give that kind of time period up to a month. And then we come back in and say, okay, you've documented what you really want it to do. It doesn't do this, you want it to do that. Or I've been doing this, this, and this. Is there a better way? Can we automate that? And that's where we'll go, okay, the next phase will be, we'll spend 5 or 10 hours and we'll do this, 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 and this. And then your system's just working for you. It's been made super easy by Zoho because they understand with their hundreds of thousands of customers exactly what the general customer would need on average. So they've jam-packed it with everything. And we just have to know to turn down, I guess.
What parts to use. And so you mentioned other software as well. In the construction, building, trades type world, what other ones are you kind of working with sometimes?
Sure. So we work with Formatize, which is an Australian product, I think. It's certainly got a Sydney base headquarters. So they're really easy to work with. Formatize is great. Field service management, does all the bells and whistles, does everything. Can be a little bit finicky in some places, but that's where us as specialists come in. And then the other one that's kind of a leader in what we implement is Mira. And Mira is a brainchild of a gentleman from Kilmore in Victoria. And I know him, I know his development team. It's a sensational product, and if it doesn't do what you need it to do, I can just give the founder and owner a call and say, hey, I've got someone who needs this, and they get it developed and done and in the system. So, when you've got relationships like that, the customer can leverage from that, like, oh, it does all of the things I need except for this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, not a problem. If we can't make that happen already, let's make it happen. And those systems already have swims. They already have, all of the technical documentation that, so for pest controllers, for example, they need all the chemical breakdowns, et cetera, et cetera. It's got all of that inbuilt into the systems already. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel for you. It's great.
We're living in an interesting time in the world right now with AI, and so there's so many options and alternatives, and if it depends on the nature of which AI you choose to play with, to ask questions, have a conversation with.
Yes.
They can sometimes tell you what you want to hear. So, you know, because we can't be exactly sure what to believe, I suppose that's now is the time to lean on experts in the field who have done it before, who've seen it in different case studies and scenarios, different strengths and weaknesses of the various platforms. I suppose that's when it really matters. What do you think are the biggest roadblocks in a trades business that software starts to help to unlock?
Absolutely. So, documentation, legislative rules and regulations that mean you have to document pre-build or whatever, like certain steps, documentation, making sure that photos are taken of what's been happening, what's happened on site, pre, during, post, all that kind of thing. That can slow down a job extensively. And then you have to find somewhere to store those photos. They have to be attached to reports. So reporting, there's most industries have to do reports. Like, for example, I'll go back to pest control because it's the easiest way to explain it. And the most recent implementation I've done, they have to do a diagram of where they've put baiting stations. Then that diagram has to be attached to all of the chemicals that are used. And then all of that has to be bundled up and sent with an invoice and obviously with the compliance. And then they have to have regular check-ins, I guess, so 6, 12 months, whatever it is, depending on the chemical compound or product or where it is. So all of that documentation, all of that administrative stuff nowadays can be done on the right software. And it's a matter of click, 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 send, and it sends all the documentation with the invoice. So that really slowed things down. But you can do that on your phone as well. So these products all have mobile apps. So you're not going home after a long day of being on site, doing all this stuff, then having to do all the paperwork, then sending it out, and then going, oh, goodness, I haven't invoiced them, then going back and invoice. So you can do that all while you're on site before you leave. In fact, you can even take payments on site. So they receive the report with all the documentation, the invoice, they click, they can tap, whatever. They pay before you leave site. You go home, you spend the evening with the kids. It's easy.
Yeah, that's it. That's so important. I suppose because we're working with the same target market, the trades construction, there's just so much work that has to be done. And to get that time back, it seems to be a massive thing that everyone's striving to achieve. You start out in business with high hopes and dreams that soon you're soon snowed under. You get the work that you desired, but yet just snowed under trying to manage it all. So getting the right software in place is so important. And just the record keeping, it's so important. There's the legislation that you have to do certain things, but also for internally, the value of having great records of what you've done. So if you need to do further works, it's easier. Just yesterday, actually, I was at Mum's with wanting to get the NBN through the old Telstra pits, and so it's on a largish property with a long driveway, and so there was multiple points, and they're hidden somewhere in the garden, and they're not where Telstra said they were going to be. So certainly one wasn't. There's multiple pits. One was found in the wrong spot. And that just suggested to us the other one would be in the wrong place as well. So, I mean, that was done probably back in the 70s, I suppose, something like that. But to the point, to have things recorded, because sometimes even in plans, when you get on site, things need to be somewhat different because of, there's a tree in the road, plumbing might move slightly, and it's perfectly fine and legal and everything's fine, but if no one records it accurately, it becomes a hell of a job to find it. So you almost future-proofing yourself for the future works. It becomes easier for you to do the ongoing, whatever it might be, as well.
Absolutely.
Scenarios.
It can also save you on admin, like wages. So I've had recently had an implementation that basically the 2 admin people in the office could be reduced down to 1, and then they were able to retrain that admin person and get them back out on the tools, which was really great. You know, the person didn't like being in the office doing stuff. They wanted to be out on the tools. So it just enabled them to restructure themselves a little bit and give them that freedom that they had another person out doing revenue earning stuff, and let the system do the hard yards and do the legwork, so the admin burden wasn't big at all.
Yeah. And does your team support? So we spoke about the initial build out, selecting the software option, building it, customizing it. What level of support do you guys do ongoingly in the background?
Sure. So when I first started, I started as a virtual assistant. So that's kind of our core as well. So we have an Australian-based virtual reception. We can answer your phones for you while you're out on the tools. We can answer questions. We can book people in. We can do all of that kind of thing. And they're speaking to a real human, not an AI person. And I'm down the AI hole. I love AI. So even I say I like to speak to a human on the phone. But we also have virtual assistants who are based in Australia. So they're Australian. They know, they understand, where you need to drive, how you need to go. They understand the Australian environment. So we can be doing the admin for you. All my team know the software solutions that we put in from the back end right through. So you can get assistance not only with just setting something up, but then the ongoing assistance. So you might find, because you put in a system, you suddenly grow. We can just step in and help you on an ad hoc basis or an hourly basis if you want, just a couple of hours a day. Not a problem. We can do that. So because we know your business, we've set your system up, we can just jump in and not have to be trained, not have to ask too many questions. It works really well.
Yeah. No, that's really valuable because, I mean, you don't know what you don't know. So if you can just palm it off to an expert who does know. But you touched on something interesting. So the show's built, trusted, chosen. So that it feels to me like trust is being eroded in a whole lot of ways due to AI. We can't necessarily trust what we read or see, and we don't know if it's real or what. How do you see that playing out in your world? What are your thoughts?
So, I'm the first person to have cloned myself, my voice, half my videos out on the internet now are my clone Josie, and I'm quite proud of it. So I'm absolutely down that AI rabbit hole. They're a great tool when you ask it the right things and when you use the right AI for the right task. So there's a whole lot of different AIs out there. And if you don't know, then you'll just use ChatGPT or you'll just use Perplexity or whatever. You might just choose one, Claude, and just use it. But each have their own real strengths and they've been built for something specifically. Yeah, they're adding on other things like Claude have just added on a whole lot of like Claude Code and all these other things that it can do. But they're basic things that they were built for, where their strengths lie. And so it's just knowing or just engaging the right people who know which one to use for what task. I mean, if I'm going to write a really, really kick-ass email, I'm going to use Claude, hands down. It's more, it just sounds like me. It's easy to train up as yourself, etc. But if I want to do some deep research, I'll use Perplexity. AI is great tools. I see the last 4 months have been like 50 years in technology. I call it dog years because it has just so surpassed where we thought we could ever be. I'm doing things now that I tried to do in December and couldn't do. I'm now doing in AI and it's just crazy. But I think going forward, more and more, people will use AI to run their businesses, and all the platforms out there, all of the systems that we are implementing, all have their own inbuilt AIs and all that kind of thing. So that's where it's heading, that the AI will run the business, but it will still need human thinking and human intervention and approvals at certain stages. And you'll have to, the only thing you'll have to do is just get on, like for a trade business or a field service management business, just get on with doing what you need to do. Your jobs are not going to be made redundant. It's the admin people who are going to have to know what to write in their prompts to get the best out of the AI. And it's going to be those skill sets, the strategy, the thinking behind the prompt, okay, this tool can do it, but I need to instruct it precisely and properly so that it does it correctly. And then it's having those fail-safe stops where you have to go in and double check and then say yes or no. That will then enable it to move further. But yeah, the AI will run businesses from the back end, absolutely, with minimal intervention. And that's in the distant but not too distant future, depending on it's crazy.
Yeah. Really, and I suppose that's a great thing, because most of, the founder-led businesses, they started because they love the trade or the skill that they bring to the table, not all the admin stuff. So if that can be somewhat automated to a large degree, then it frees them up to do what they love to do. Get out on the tools, or if they enjoy the client facing, the sales side of things, or the meetings and so on, whatever they enjoy doing, they can do that human thing that only humans can do. As you said, you like to talk to a human. I do as well. Especially if you're buying something of high perceived value, you always want to talk with someone before you buy it. If you're buying something cheap on Temu, that you don't need to talk to anyone. But if you're investing in your dream home, you're more than likely going to want to talk to someone before making that decision. So tech can free up your time to make more human connections. I think that's the power of it.
Absolutely. And there can be, so your operating system can be integrated into your website, can be integrated into your finance system. It doesn't have to be a standalone thing. It can talk to all the other systems. So you just, it's made as, it's so easy these days to make it easy for yourself. You don't have to do things the hard way these days.
Yeah. Yeah, the old days of having multiple pieces of software and copy and pasting things from one to the other, and just the potential for human error in all of that, or to forget to do things. And now it's removing a lot of that potential error. But there's another suite of errors and that could occur because it might come up with something not quite right. So you still need that expert. Understanding and guidance. And there was that, I think it was an Australian case, that legal case where there was a whole bunch of fake examples or what have you in the evidence, and they realized, hey, this is all just crunched out. So
I think that really highlighted the fact that you really do need to double check the sources. Admittedly, AI has come a long way since that. I think that was probably about 12 months ago. But still, make sure that it gives you links that say, your reference links, so you can check the information it's providing you.
I know, certainly with the content production from a optimization standpoint. So creating content for Google and the like to find, some clients are doing it themselves, and sometimes I just sometimes worry whether it's getting checked properly or not, because it's so quick and easy to punch out 1,000 words and publish it, and it might help with Google. But you just got to be so careful. There's other tools that automate the whole thing, so you just tell it your keywords, and it once a week or whatever you want it to be, once a day maybe, it'll publish an article on your behalf, and you think, wow, these are putting words into your mouth that might create headaches eventually. But
I think so.
The new world of tech, it's keeping us on our toes, and certainly cool to watch you on social with what you're doing. and it just shows you're on the cutting edge of what's happening. So, um, even if you're just experimenting with a few new things, it shows that you're on the cutting edge and understand what's going on. So you probably fair chance you're going to know what will work for another business. So, with the chosen piece, what do you think are this is more from a marketing standpoint, more so than from the behind the scenes admin, so the client facing stuff. What do you think it takes to get chosen in this world where it's so noisy? There's just so much information out there and marketing, and everyone's got a message out there. How do you get chosen?
How to get chosen? I think it's just by being a trusted advisor, and I think reputation is absolutely key. It's you need to know what you're talking about, and under interrogation be able to answer the questions. So you were talking just before about how AI systems are punching out all of these and they can automatically upload them, et cetera, et cetera. If you get asked a question about something that AI has automatically done, how are you going to know how to answer? And I think it's the quickest way to rule someone out if they have no idea about what they're talking about or what they've published. So I just think that you do the hard work. It's like in any trade, you do the hard work. You can. I was watching TikTok this morning, and the TikTok inspector came on, and he was pointing out and quoting legislation and saying, this is not up to code, this is not up to code, this is not up to code, and this is why it's not up to code. If you can't say this is wrong, this is why it's wrong, then you won't be chosen. So I think it's just knowing your stuff, making the mistakes. I mean, the AI rabbit hole I've been down, I've made some huge boo-boos, not publicly, but I've typed something in, and the stuff that it's come back with, I've just gone, that's just not what I'm asking for. Creating photos and creating videos and all that kind of thing. You put something in, you think you've got your prompts right. It spits out something really off track. So I think it's about being able to be interrogated. And I mean that in a nice way, like ask questions and actually provide solid answers that, real life examples that, no, this is what happens when you do that. And I think that it comes down to trust. It still 100% and networking and people referring you, like it might be my next door neighbor referring me to one of their mates because they hear me on my Zoom calls or whatever, and she sounds like she knows what she's talking about. But it's that personal recommendation that I've chosen this person because they really do know what they're talking about. Anyone can be an armchair expert, but you've got to, when you ask the questions, specific questions and how it might relate to somebody, that's when they'll choose you.
Yeah. And it's that word of mouth thing. It's happening even particularly for trades, for every business, but just to the trades and construction. Everybody talks about who the good players are and who might let you down. I just experienced it the other week in the car parking underneath here. There was some form of tradie talking to one of the people from the building here, and they were talking about who the good builders were in town. We're in Geelong, and so I was just listening in because it was interesting.
Yeah.
I was going to the car and he was saying, oh, this builder's no good because of blah, 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 and this one's a bit rip-off and this one's that. Oh, these are the couple of good ones. That word of mouth is happening for every business. It's just that we don't know. So we really want to amplify. We want to create a great reputation, firstly, so the right things are being said by the community, because things are being said about our businesses. So I think it's incredibly important to create those strong foundations in a business. And I suppose that's a big part of what can let down those foundations is bad organisation, bad management. So that leans into what good systems can do. So you do show up when you say you're going to, because you've created a schedule that is achievable. You've set up things in the appropriate manner so everything gets done and the quality is always there. So I think it's a great time for your kind of business and the advice you're giving. How do people sort of find out more? I know you mentioned you're in Australia. Is it purely Australian businesses you work with?
We can work with anyone. We're virtual, so my whole team, we work from our own homes. So we can work anytime, anywhere, overnight. Like I've had a couple of clients in the States, so we've done overnight work for them. So for them, it's overnight. For us, it's just day work, and it works out really well. So things like that. But yeah, we're located not by design. I've got one person in Sydney at the moment, and then the rest are in Victoria. But I do have I have had staff in Western Australia and elsewhere as well, South Australia. So, I can scale up and scale down. I'm very flexible. And yeah, we can work in any state. Doesn't matter if it's daylight savings or not, or any country.
Yeah. And so the website would be the best place to find you, or what's the best?
Yeah. So www.jmvbs.au. That's the easiest way to find me.
Yeah, and no doubt you can find, because I know you're quite active on social, so no doubt I'll find all the socials from the website. So I'll put the website link and the social link in the show notes as well. This has been an amazing discussion. But before we wrap up, is there something that I should have asked you that I didn't, and what would be the answer to that?
No, I think we covered it all. It's just, I guess, do you feel like you're drowning? Do you feel like you never see your family? If you do, then there's no shame in asking for help. And, there are people out there that you can trust to help you and get you sorted really quickly. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You can just keep doing what you do on the daily basis and just keep working. So I think that the overwhelm is real, and everyone doesn't have to go down each and every rabbit hole and investigate. There are people out there that can do all that stuff for you, and yeah, just do it.
Brilliant. Sounds good, Jo. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Thanks for listening to Built, Trusted, Chosen. Brought to you by Uplift 360. Visit uplift360.com.au.